My name is Emily Carter, and for most of my life, I believed my family was held together by something unbreakable. I believed that love, loyalty, and the quiet sacrifices we made for each other would always matter in the end. But the truth is, sometimes the people we trust the most are the first to betray us. And sometimes, the ones who should protect us are the ones who cut the deepest. Before I begin, if you have ever felt unseen or dismissed by your own family, then this story is for you. And if you want to hear more stories like this, make sure to comment your thoughts, like the video, and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter. Now, let me take you back to the day everything shifted. I grew up in a modest but comfortable home in Portland. My parents, Linda and Mark Carter, always made it clear that they valued responsibility and hard work above all else. They told me that if I kept my head down, stayed humble, and worked for what I wanted, life would reward me. I took those lessons to heart. My older brother, Nathan, did not. Nathan was the golden child, effortlessly charming, carelessly ambitious, the kind of person who floated through life believing the world owed him something. Whenever he failed, my parents would gently excuse it. Whenever I succeeded, they would quietly move the goalposts. Still, I loved them. I believed that one day they would see me clearly. That belief held me together for 29 years. But it shattered the morning my mother called and asked me to come home for an important family discussion. Her voice carried a stiffness I could not place, like she had already decided how I was supposed to feel. I drove to their house with a tension I could not shake. The living room smelled like fresh coffee and lemon polish, like every Sunday morning of my childhood. But the air felt different, tight, anticipatory, like the house itself knew what was coming. My parents sat across from me, hands folded. Nathan leaned against the doorway with that familiar crooked grin, as if he already knew the ending of a story I had not even been invited to read. My father cleared his throat. "Emily," he said, "your mother and I have finalized our estate plans." My pulse quickened. I had never cared about inheritance. I had my career, my independence. I paid for my own apartment, my own car, my own life. But the way he looked at me, it made something inside me twist. "We have decided," my mother continued, "that the house, the savings, and the investment properties will all go to Nathan." My breath caught. All. Not split. Not shared. All. For a moment, the room blurred. I heard the ticking clock, the hum of the dishwasher, the distant laughter of a neighbor's child. Everything felt painfully sharp and painfully far away at once. "I do not understand," I whispered. "You do not need to understand," Nathan said casually, as if discussing weekend plans. "It is just practical. I am the one who will carry on the family name." My mother nodded. "You have always been independent, Emily. You do not need our help the way Nathan does. He has struggled, and we do not want to see him fail." I stared at them, at the two people who raised me, held me when I cried, celebrated my smallest achievements, now telling me that my worth had always been conditional. That my strength was not admirable. It was an excuse to abandon me. "You mean," I said slowly, "because I did everything right, I get nothing?" My mother sighed, almost impatient. "Emily, do not make this dramatic. This decision is final." Nathan smirked, and something inside me cracked. I stood up. My legs felt unsteady, like I had stepped onto unfamiliar ground. "If this is how you see me," I said, "then maybe I never knew you at all." I left the house with tears burning in my throat. I waited for my phone to ring. I waited for someone to stop me, to call me back, to tell me this was a terrible mistake. No call came. Not until the next morning. I woke to a long message from my mother. At first I thought she was apologizing. I imagined the words, "I am sorry," or "we were unfair," or "let us talk again." But when I opened the message, my entire world tilted. "Emily, it is clear you have chosen distance and disrespect. Since you have made your position known, I am making mine clear as well. It is over between us. Do not contact me again until you are ready to accept our decisions." I read it once, then twice, then again. My hands shook. The woman who taught me how to tie my shoes. The woman who braided my hair before school. The woman who whispered, "You will always have a place with us," whenever I doubted my worth. That woman had just ended our relationship as if it were some fragile, replaceable thing. "It is over between us." For words that sliced through the last of my childhood illusions. I sank onto the edge of my bed, staring at the glow of my phone screen. Outside, the morning sun was rising, painting soft gold across the world. But inside, everything felt hollow. For hours, I could not move. I replayed our conversations, our holidays, the nights I stayed up studying while Nathan partied, the birthdays where I bought thoughtful gifts while he forgot to show up. Every quiet sacrifice, every unacknowledged effort, every moment I thought proved my devotion. And now none of it mattered, because I was easy to cut off, because I was strong, because I was not the child they wanted. At that moment, a deep truth settled inside me, one that hurt more than anything I had ever felt. Sometimes the people you love the most simply do not choose you. But as the sun climbed higher, something strange happened. The pain did not fade, but it sharpened into resolve. If my parents believed my independence made me unworthy, then I would show them the full weight of the life I could build without them. Not out of revenge, not even out of anger, but because I finally understood that love should not require losing myself. And so begins the part of my story that changed everything. But I will tell you that in the next chapter. The days after my mother's message passed in a blur, slow, heavy, and strangely silent. I kept rereading her words as if repetition would somehow make them softer. But they never softened. They were sharp every single time. "It is over between us." I wondered if she hesitated before typing it. I wondered if her fingers trembled, or if she pressed each key with conviction, believing she was delivering a lesson I needed to learn. It was terrifying to realize I did not know the answer. One truth echoed louder than the rest. If a relationship can be ended so easily, perhaps it was never truly safe. Still, grief washed through me in waves. I cried in my car, in the shower, in the grocery store parking lot where a stranger watched me with concerned eyes. I cried for the version of my parents I thought I had. I cried for the child in me who spent decades trying to earn their approval. I cried because a part of my life, when I never questioned, had suddenly vanished. But even grief has a limit, and after enough tears, something inside me shifted. I woke up one morning, stepped into the cold light of my apartment, and realized I was still here. My life did not end with their rejection. My heartbeat continued. My breath filled my lungs. My future, for the first time, felt like something I could build without apologizing. That was the day I chose to rebuild myself. I threw myself into work not as an escape, but as a declaration. I had recently been promoted to project lead at a renewable energy firm in downtown Portland, and for the first time, I saw my work not as a distraction from family expectations, but as a foundation for my independence. I stayed late at the office, driven by a fire I could not extinguish. My coworkers noticed. My supervisor, Daniel, stopped by my desk after another long evening. "Emily," he said, "you have been producing some of the strongest work on the team. Are you aiming for the senior strategist role? Because if so, you are making a strong case." I blinked, surprised. Yes. I would love that opportunity." He smiled warmly. "Keep doing what you are doing, and I do not see why you would not earn it." For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of something bright, something that belonged only to me. Success no longer felt like a plea for approval. It felt like a quiet, steady reclaiming of my own life. But healing is rarely linear. A month after the fallout, I received a text not from my mother, but from Nathan. "Hey, just checking if you are done being dramatic." My stomach twisted. He followed with another message before I could respond. "You should apologize to Mom. She is upset. You know how sensitive she is." A laugh burst out of me, sharp, humorless. Sensitive? My mother had cut off her daughter in a single message and slept soundly afterward. But of course Nathan would defend her. He had never experienced the sharp edges of her love. I typed a reply but deleted it. I typed again. Deleted again. Then I finally wrote, "Apologize for what? His answer came quickly. For disrespecting our parents after everything they have done for us. I stared at those words, heat rising in my chest. Everything they have done for us. As if us meant the same thing for both of us. As if their love had ever been equal. I typed one last message. Do not contact me again unless you have something meaningful to say. And then I blocked his number. For the first time, the silence felt like protection rather than punishment. The following months became a quiet revolution. I reconnected with friends I had unintentionally drifted away from while trying to keep my parents' approval. I joined a weekend hiking group, rediscovered painting, learned how to make proper sourdough bread after several unfortunate attempts. Most importantly, I learned what my life looked like when I did not live in the shadow of their expectations. I bought a new desk for my apartment, repainted my bedroom, organized my finances, met with a financial advisor. For the first time in my life, I considered buying property not because my parents owned 3 rentals I had once assumed would be split between my brother and me, but because I could build my own security. I was rebuilding myself from the inside out. And slowly, the pieces began to fit. Then, one crisp October morning, everything changed again. I was sipping coffee on my balcony when my phone buzzed with a number I had not seen in months. My father. For a moment, old instincts flared fear, obligation, hope. I let it ring until the final vibration faded. A minute later, he called again. I answered. Dad. My voice trembled despite my resolve. There was a long silence on the other end, so long that I wondered if the call had dropped. Then I heard a shaky breath. Emily, he said quietly, your mother is in the hospital. The world narrowed to a pinpoint. What happened? She collapsed at home, he said. The doctors say it was stress-related. I know things have been difficult, but she keeps asking for you. My heart twisted painfully. My mother wanted to see me? After telling me our relationship was over? After acting as though I was disposable? I felt my throat tighten. Dad, I said slowly, why is she asking for me now? He did not answer at first. Then his voice cracked in a way I had never heard. Because she knows she pushed you too far. And she is scared. I closed my eyes. In that moment, 2 conflicting truths warred inside me. The first, I loved my mother. Despite everything she had done, a part of me still longed for her approval, her warmth, her presence. The second, I had spent months healing from wounds she inflicted without hesitation. Walking back into that room could reopen every one of them. Emily, my father whispered, please. She needs you. I took a long, trembling breath. Everything in me wanted to run in opposite directions toward her and away from her. But I had learned something valuable in the months of silence. Choosing myself was not selfish. It was survival. I will come, I said finally. But I am not promising anything. My father exhaled in relief. Thank you, sweetheart. She will be glad to see you. But I was not convinced. The drive to the hospital felt unreal. My hands tightened around the steering wheel with every mile. My thoughts swirled fear, longing, resentment, grief. When I reached the hospital, I walked down the sterile hallway with my heart pounding in my chest. The hum of fluorescent lights above me sounded like a funeral march. I paused before the door to her room. My mother, Linda Carter, had always been a force of nature. Sharp, unyielding, meticulous. The thought of seeing her weakened made bile rise in my throat. I pushed the door open. She was lying in the hospital bed, and 4 needles threaded into her arm, her skin pale against the crisp white sheets. My father sat beside her, eyes tired and red. For a moment, neither of them saw me. Then my mother opened her eyes. When she saw me, her breath caught. Emily, she whispered. My father stood abruptly. I will give you 2 a moment. The door closed behind him. My mother stared at me with eyes that were no longer sharp, no longer judgmental. They were scared, vulnerable, human. I did not move closer. She reached out a trembling hand. Please, she whispered, sit with me. For the first time in my life, she was asking instead of demanding. I stepped forward, But I did not sit.
Not yet.
Her eyes filled with tears. I was wrong, she said. I thought pushing you away would make you see our decision as final. But all I did was break something I did not know how to fix. Her voice cracked. Emily, I am so sorry. The apology I had dreamed of for years hung between us. But instead of relief, I felt something unfamiliar.
Power.
Not dominance. Not revenge. Just the quiet, steady power of someone who finally knows their worth. I took a breath. Mom, I said softly, I am here, but things cannot go back to the way they were. She nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. I know. And for the first time, I believed her. My mother's apology lingered in the air like something fragile, beautiful, but dangerous to touch. For a long moment, the only sound in the room was the steady rhythm of the heart monitor. It pulsed gently, almost reassuringly, as if reminding us that time was still moving forward even though everything inside me felt suspended. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Emily, I never meant to lose you. A strange ache filled my chest, because part of me believed her, and part of me remembered every moment she had made the choice to walk away. Mom, I said softly, you told me it was over between us. Her lips trembled. That message, I wrote it in anger.
And fear.
I did not know how to handle your reaction. I thought if I pushed harder, you would give in. I exhaled slowly. But you were not trying to fix the relationship. You were trying to win. She closed her eyes. The truth stung her, but she did not deny it. I was wrong, she whispered again, her voice breaking. I thought that because Nathan needed more help, it justified everything. I thought your strength meant you would never leave us. But I pushed until you had no choice left. There it was, the admission she had never before allowed herself to make. I finally sat down beside her bed. Not because she asked. Not because she cried. But because I chose to. Mom, I said gently, I did not walk away to punish you. I walked away because I had been hurting for a long time, and I finally realized I did not have to stay. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She took a shaky breath. I should have protected you as much as I protected him. I nodded.
Yes.
You should have. The weight of those words settled between us, not out of cruelty, but out of truth. Real healing cannot begin until truth is spoken aloud, without fear or excuses. For the first time, my mother did not defend herself. She did not justify her choices. She simply cried. It was strange to see her this way, small, fragile, undone. The woman I grew up with was sharp and unyielding, a storm in human form. But the woman in the hospital bed was different. She was human in a way I had never witnessed before. And something inside me softened. Not completely. Not blindly. But enough. My father returned to the room, his eyes searching mine, uncertain. For years, he had been the quiet shadow in the background, present, but rarely taking a stand. Now he looked like a man carrying more regret than he could hold. He cleared his throat. Emily, we need to talk about Nathan. My stomach tightened. Of course. It always came back to Nathan. What about him? My father rubbed his forehead. He lost the Bend property. The rental. He fell behind on payments, did not manage the tenants properly. Now we are facing legal issues because everything is in his name. I closed my eyes. So the golden child had finally shattered the illusion. My father continued, voice heavy. We made a mistake. A terrible one. We gave him responsibilities he was not prepared for. And we left you out of everything, even though you were the one who could have handled it. My mother looked at me with pleading eyes. We want to fix it. We want to rewrite the estate. We want to include you, to give you what you deserve. A bitter, hollow laugh escaped me. Mom, I never cared about the inheritance. She blinked, confused. Then what do you want? I took a breath that felt like reclaiming a part of myself. I want respect. I want truth. I want to be loved without conditions. Without manipulation. Without being punished for being strong. Silence fell, dense and emotional. My mother nodded slowly, tears still falling. We can do that. I promise we can try. I met her eyes. Trying is not enough. There has to be change. Then, something unexpected happened. My father walked closer, his voice trembling. Emily, will you help us? With the property issues, with everything? We do not know how to handle the mess Nathan created. There it was, the request beneath the apology. They wanted my help, not because they suddenly understood my worth, but because they needed me. And yet, I did not feel anger. I felt clarity. For the first time, I could see my power not as a burden or an expectation, but as something I owned. Something I could use on my terms. I will help, I said slowly. But only under one condition. They waited. I am not stepping back into the role of fixing everyone's problems while being treated like I do not exist. If I help, then I am an equal. My voice matters. My decisions matter. And I will not tolerate any form of manipulation ever again. My father swallowed hard. You have my word. My mother nodded, clutching my hand. And mine. Maybe they meant it. Maybe they did not know how to mean it yet. But, for the first time, I felt like I held the pen to write what came next. The following weeks were not easy. Healing a family is not like flipping a switch. It is slow,
Messy.
filled with old wounds bleeding through new conversations. Nathan exploded when he learned that I had been asked to step in. He stormed into my apartment one afternoon, furious. So this is your big plan? Make Mom and Dad feel guilty so you can take everything back from me? His words felt like acid, but I was not the same girl he once dismissed. I met his glare calmly. Nathan, you lost a rental property in less than 6 months. Mom and Dad are facing lawsuits. They need someone who can actually handle responsibility.
He scoffed.
Oh, so you think you are better than me? No, I said softly. But I know I am more responsible. And deep down, so do you. For a moment, I saw at the flicker of truth he desperately wanted to avoid. He stepped back. This is not over. I shook my head. Yes, Nathan. It is. Because I am not playing this game anymore. And for the first time, he had no comeback. Months passed. I helped restructure my parents' investments, negotiated with lawyers, and stabilized their finances. Not out of obligation. Not out of guilt. But because I chose to. My relationship with my parents did not return to what it was before. In fact, it became something new, something healthier, something defined by boundaries and mutual respect. My mother apologized many times, not dramatically, but quietly, consistently, in the ways that mattered. She began asking about my life, my job, my dreams, not as an afterthought, but as if she genuinely cared. My father learned to speak up, to challenge her when she slipped into old patterns, to support me without waiting for permission. And I learned something too. You can love someone deeply and still choose yourself first. You can forgive without forgetting. You can move forward without returning to who you once were. One evening, months after the hospital incident, my mother and I sat together on her patio. The sunset spilled gold across the sky, warm and soft.
She reached for my hand.
Emily, she said quietly, I am proud of the woman you became. I only wish I had shown you sooner. I felt tears rise, not painful ones, but gentle ones. It is never too late, I whispered. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. If you have listened to my story until the end, I want to leave you with this. Family does not define your worth. Love should never demand that you shrink. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is stand up, walk away, and return only when the door opens to a place where you are truly seen. Thank you for being here with me. If this story resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment, give this video a like, and subscribe for more stories just like this, stories of resilience, healing, and reclaiming the power that was always yours. You are never as alone as you think, and your voice matters more than you know.